Welcome to Idaho Fish and Game's Hook and Bulletin podcast, your weekly news roundup of hunting, fishing, trapping, and conservation stories from around the Gem State. Hosted by Fish and Game's Public Information Specialist, Connor J. Lease.
And welcome back to Idaho Fish and Game's Hook and Bulletin podcast. This week we're talking about white-tailed deer teeth, 4 dead moose near Clarkia, and a pair of hunter ed instructors who've been teaching the next generation of hunters for 45 years. But first, we're going to take a look at Idaho Fish and Game's most misunderstood hunts, depredation hunts. Most hunters think of Idaho deer and elk hunts occurring in the fall when they get to pursue their favorite quarry across Idaho's vast backcountry and additional hunting access provided on private lands ranging from corporate timberlands to rural farms and ranches. Many of the traditional, general, and controlled hunts are influenced by depredation problems and geared toward reducing landowner conflicts and providing additional public hunting opportunities. There are other hunts that often cause confusion, such as depredation hunts, which are strategic hunts solely intended to reduce damage to private lands caused by big game animals. Fish and Game manages for healthy and abundant big game herds, but those animals don't recognize property boundaries. I know, shocker. And many of Idaho's big game herds spend at least part of their year on private lands. Those visits often occur during seasonal migrations or in winter when forage on public land is covered in snow. Idahoans value wildlife, and that includes landowners who appreciate and accept elk and deer on their property, often even when they cause some inconveniences and damages to their crops. But when those animals cause unacceptable damage, Fish and Game uses a variety of tools to reduce, or in some cases eliminate, those conflicts. Our staff tries to maintain support for big game on private lands in many ways, including using non-lethal techniques. Our staff also uses strategic hunts to prevent or reduce big game damage to private lands. These hunting methods can include landowner permission hunts, depredation hunts, and kill permits issued directly to the landowner. Each is a little different, but all are intended to reduce damages and maintain support for abundant big game herds. The meat is always utilized from these hunts, either by the hunter, landowner, or it is professionally processed and donated to food banks. So, first let's answer, what are landowner permission hunts? Landowner permission hunts, or LPH hunts, are a form of depredation hunt that is used primarily on private lands with chronic depredations and during times of year when the animals are likely to be causing damage. That's why some hunts can run before or after traditional fall hunts. Simply put, you can't hunt the animals that are causing problems if they're not there. So these hunts take place when the animals are likely to be in the act of depredating agriculture. Vouchers are distributed to landowners on an as-needed basis when an active depredation event has been verified by our staff. In some cases, a portion of the vouchers are distributed proactively to landowners with chronic depredation issues. The remaining vouchers are provided to landowners in response to verified depredations. So who gets to decide who gets an LPH tag voucher? Well, that's up to the discretion of the landowner who is having the depredation, and any hunter who is eligible to possess an Idaho hunting license, resident or non-resident, for the current calendar year can participate if approved by the landowner. So how many LPH tags are available each year? That can depend. The numbers listed in the LPH brochure represent the maximum number of tags allowed. If depredations are low, the number of tags available will be lower because the intent of the hunt is to manage the depredation, not provide maximum hunting opportunity. So, can an LPH tag be used outside of private property? The answer is sometimes. Each hunt has a legal boundary, and some hunt areas are restricted to private land. Hunters may hunt anywhere within the legal hunt area boundaries, assuming they have permission to be on private land. Question we often get is, if it's to stop depredations on private land, why aren't LPH hunts restricted to private land? Well, animals may come onto private lands to feed at night, outside of legal hunting hours, then return to public land or other private lands during the day. Because the goal is to eliminate or reduce wildlife depredations, hunters may need to access those animals on public land. So how do depredation hunts differ from LPH hunts? Depredation hunts are initiated in response to active depredation when it's happening. Typically, they're in response to short-term or new situations caused by relatively few animals. They are held on short notice, usually involve relatively small areas, and typically landowners can distribute half the tags and Fish and Game gets to distribute the rest based on a list of hunters who earlier applied to participate. These strategic hunts can often remove specific animals causing problems or drive the rest of the herd away from that private land. Hunters apply for these hunts between May and June each year, not knowing when or if a depredation hunt will be needed, or if they will be called to participate. Essentially, they are on call, if you will, if a problem arises. Most regions issue only a handful of depredation permits each year. Another question we get is, what are kill permits? Sometimes organizing a depredation hunt is infeasible due to timing and or logistics, and our Fish and Game director has the option of issuing quote-unquote kill permits directly to a landowner. As implied, these are not hunting tags in a traditional sense. They are permits to allow the landowner or their designee to kill a specific number and species of animal on their property that is causing damage. These may be used if individual animals or even small herds are consistently causing problems, and removing an individual or a few animals can help solve that problem. Last section to talk about here are what are agency-led removals. Agency-led removals are rare, but needed when specific depredation problems can't be effectively resolved by other types of hunts. An example might be where animals have a safe haven where a nearby landowner allows no hunting, and elk use that property as refuge during the day and then feed on neighboring properties at nighttime. Because public hunting after hours is illegal and comes with a variety of public safety concerns, trained Fish and Game staff or agents from the U.S. Department of Agriculture's Wildlife Services can quickly and safely remove offending animals. All right, I know that's a lot of information, but hopefully that clears up any questions you might have had. Roger Phillips, our public information supervisor, also has a fourth article in this Big Game on Private Land series, which we will dive into next week. So hit the link below to read this full article, as well as the first two articles in this series. All right, next up, Fish and Game is honoring a couple of fellers who've been teaching hunter ed for, not kidding, 45 years. Idaho Fish and Game is pleased to announce that 2 hunter education instructors in the Clearwater region were recently recognized for 45 years of service to the program. David Owsley of Orofino and Mike Halsley of Deary were the recipients of this prestigious recognition. Both David and Mike were officially certified as hunter education instructors in 1979, the first year that hunter education became mandatory for all new hunters in Idaho. Unfortunately, early records from the program were often not maintained, so their accomplishments cannot be fully acknowledged. Despite that, though, these 2 instructors are collectively responsible for certifying more than 3,700 students since the mid-late 1980s. During that time, David taught 114 classes in the Orofino area, while Mike taught 39 classes in the small town of Deary. The work these gentlemen did for the hunter education program was entirely voluntary. Collectively, they donated over 3,000 hours of their personal time to the program, and that does not include the work donated by assistant instructors and guest volunteers that helped with their classes. When receiving his award, David commented that, quote, "My wife supported and helped me with every class I taught. She's just as deserving of this award as I am," end quote. While Mike and David never received any monetary compensation for their work, Fish and Game recognizes that their efforts influenced a great many lives and brought many new safe and responsible hunters into the fold. Not surprisingly, as they retire from teaching hunter education, their shoes are being filled by former students that they taught over 30 years ago. The hunter education program would not be what it is without the dedication and hard work of volunteers like Mike and David. We here at Fish and Game sincerely thank both of them and the hundreds of other volunteer instructors that teach classes every year. Now, if you or someone you know is interested in becoming a volunteer in Idaho's hunter education program and filling those big shoes, contact the regional office at 208-799-5010. For more on this story, check out Regional Communications Manager Jen Bruns' article on our website. Link in the description. That's all I got on that. Time to talk about deer teeth. If you're a Panhandle and Clearwater hunter fixing to pursue white-tailed deer in Units 2, 10A, and certain controlled hunts, listen up. Y'all are encouraged to participate in the third year of our age study. Now, participation is easy, but voluntary. Hunter-provided samples help our wildlife managers better understand the age structure of white-tailed deer in northern Idaho. More samples equal more data, which produces better results. Hunters wishing to participate can simply provide a tooth from the front lower jaw of their harvested white-tailed deer. Tooth collection envelopes are available at any of our regional offices. In addition, if you harvest a buck, you can provide information about the number of points on each antler beam as well as main beam measurements. This information will help us better understand whether antler measurement could be a useful predictor of deer age. In 2023 through 2024, over 1,000 white-tailed deer teeth were submitted as part of the study. Results from the 2023 effort can be found on our website. Results from the 2024 effort will be available in early 2026. For more information, contact our Fish and Game Panhandle office at 208-769-1414 or its southern cousin, Clearwater Regional Office at 208-799-5010. That is it for major stories this week. Let's hit the rapid-fire bulletin. Fish and Game conservation officers began investigating the illegal killing of up to 4 moose in the Elk River and Clarkia areas. The moose were killed on Potlatch Delta corporate timberlands between October 3rd and the 5th. Conservation officers are looking for additional information, including kill sites and people in the area hunting or transporting moose. Anyone with information relating to this case is encouraged to contact the Fish and Game Clearwater Regional Office at 208-799-5010. Over in eastern Idaho, officers are seeking information regarding a white-tailed deer buck that was illegally shot and left to waste in Unit 68A in southeast Idaho sometime between September 20th and September 23rd. The buck was illegally shot with a rifle, and only the head was removed, leaving the rest of the carcass to waste. A member of the public found the deer on the banks of the Snake River between Blackfoot and Firth, about a half-mile south of East River Road. It is possible the deer was shot by someone from a boat on the Snake River or was dumped into the river after it was killed. Anyone with information that may be helpful in this case is encouraged to call Senior Conservation Officer Sawyer Livesley at 208-617-0244. Hey hunters, remember to allow at least 10 business days delivery time when you're ordering your tags online or by phone. Ordering online or by phone is a convenient way to buy your hunting and fishing licenses and permits, but sportsmen and women are reminded to allow enough time for their products to be mailed before their outings. So if you're a hunter that thinks you might have missed the boat, don't fret. Hunters can still come into any Fish and Game office or license vendor to purchase your tag and carry it with you out the door. That's all the news we have for this week. Told you it was a short one. Thanks for putting an ear to Idaho Fish and Game's Hook and Bulletin. If there's something on your mind or if you got a question related to Fish and Game matters, feel free to drop us a line at podcast@idfg.idaho.gov. Again, that's podcast@idfg.idaho.gov. Thanks for listening, folks. Catch you next week.